So what is shaper? First of all, so what is shaper? So anybody having any idea? So shaper in word itself, meaning is there. Shape, it is giving some kind of shape to the material by removing, machining itself, removing of material. So in shaper, in every material, in every machine, we are giving a shape. But here we are giving, so we are giving a flat surface. In previous, whatever the machines you learned, that is maybe lathe machine or maybe drilling machine or boring machines, all these machines, you learn about machining of circular surfaces, right? Nothing but curved surfaces we used to make. But here we need to focus about flat surfaces. So in our day-to-day life, a lot of flat surfaces we used to see, right? So if we see on our machine beds or maybe in your tables, or maybe you can see most of the cases, whatever the machine surfaces are there. So those surfaces are the flat surfaces. So those flat surfaces is not machined by whatever the machining process you learned in previous classes or previous topics. That is a drilling machine or a lathe machine. It's very difficult for to make a flat surfaces on lathe. Maybe you can do it facing on lathe, so which is also very small end surfaces we can machine. So except that there is no flat surfaces cannot be machined by those machines. So to make a machining of flat surface, we used to have these machines, shaper, slaughter, and planer. So in that, first we can take up the shaper. The shaper is a machine tool which produces flat surfaces. So these flat surfaces may be horizontal directions, maybe vertical direction, or maybe inclined surfaces. So inclined planes, anywhere, but it is making a flat surface. So plane depending upon the orientation of the cutting tool. So maybe you see in this picture. So whatever the picture is there here. So in this picture, if you say this is a typical cutting tool. So here machine is not shown, just only cutting portion is shown. So this is a typical machine. In machine, you having this kind of arrangement is there. This used to called as a ram. So it's marked here. It's called as a ram. So on this ram, you used to have a tool post. So this tool post consisting of a tool. You can fix the tool on this tool post. So this tool post is similar to the tool post what we have seen in your lathe, right? So lathe also on a carriage, you've seen that there is a tool post is there. So in that tool post, normally used to fit the tool. So here also same thing. We used to fit the tool in this tool post. So this tool post, normally what happened by whatever the different mechanism. So whatever this this ram is there, this ram is moving forward and backward. So maybe I'll do one thing. So actually today I'm taking your class on different my laptop, not on my regular laptop. So this is in this direction. So this RAM is moving in this direction. So this is moving forward and backward. So this direction RAM is used to move. So as RAM is moves forward direction, it is removing the metal. Maybe you can see here. So metal is removing. So this movement of when your tool is moving this direction, it is removing the material in the form of chips, and after that it is going back. So this stroke is called as a forward stroke. What is coming forward, because it is a cyclic process, right? This whatever your RAM is there, it's moving forward. So this is your typical workpiece. So when it is coming forward direction, it used to remove the material. When it is going backward, it's not removing the material. That's why forward stroke is this. Whatever the forward stroke is called as a working stroke, or nothing but forward stroke. And whatever the stroke, once this machining has done, so once the material is removed, so this layer of material is removed here. So this has to go back. So this, whatever the direction it is moving back, so this used to called as a return stroke, or nothing but idle stroke. So forward stroke is also always working stroke, and return stroke is idle stroke. So this is a peculiar thing in previous machining process, in lathe or maybe in drilling machine. So your machining is continuous process. Means once is the machining, the spindle is rotates, whether it's a drilling machine or lathe machine, once spindle is rotates, so this is continuously machining. But here in this shaper slaughter planer, it's not a continuous machining process. So only one direction, whenever the cutting tool is moving, so moving forward direction, you used to have the cutting process. In its reverse direction, cutting is not there. That's why forward direction, whatever the cutting is there, that used to called as a working stroke. So because this used to called as a stroke. So once is moving from one end to other end, so this used to called as a stroke. So STROKE, stroke. So this stroke will move from one direction, one end to other end. So once your working stroke is completed, again it has to go back to its initial condition. That is a cyclic process, right? So this going back to initial condition, this process, this stroke is called as a ideal stroke. Because in that stroke there is no machining. So normally in this we are using the single point cutting tool. So if you say in your drilling machine, so normally we used to have multi cutting cutting tool we use, but in lathe machine as well as the boring machine we used to have the single point cutting tool. So here also we are using single point cutting tool for machining. So in this, whatever the tool is there, this is clamped in the tool post. So this is called as the tool post. So this portion wherever this is ram. So ram consisting of tool post. You are clamped in the tool post mounted on the ram of the machine. So this is a typical used to called as a ram. The ram reciprocates to and fro. As I told you, this is moving to and fro, front and back. It is reciprocating in a linear direction. So linear direction it is moving, reciprocating. That linear movement moving forward and backward is called as a reciprocating motion, right? So here the ram is reciprocating. Ram is reciprocating about its about in a particular line. So ram reciprocating from to and fro, front and back. Tool cuts the material. So during this process, when it is moving forward, this material is removing. So this stroke is called as a forward stroke or nothing but cutting stroke. And return stroke, there is no cutting during the returning, as I told you. So once your cutting tool is come forward, cutting has done, then it has to go back. Then only it has to remove the further material. So this going back, whatever is there, that used to called as a return stroke or nothing but ideal stroke. So forward stroke and return stroke. Forward stroke moving forward, return stroke is returning back. So moving forward, forward stroke is always slower. Remember, because forward stroke is a cutting stroke. So during that cutting is happening. So that's why when this cutting is happening, you used to have, because work is happening, it is moving at some speed. I'm not telling it's a slow, it is going some standard speed. And next return stroke normally, because there is no work is happening. So because of that, the return stroke is very fast. So that's why I used to call as the forward stroke is slow and return stroke is fast. It's a comparatively we can tell you. So return stroke is faster. So compare with the return stroke, forward stroke is slow, and forward stroke is slow. So compare with forward stroke, return stroke is faster. So return stroke is always faster. And job is held on the table. So there is always in the machine, in previous machines also you see. So work table or maybe bed, you can whatever you can say. It's a table. If it is a big machine, maybe directly you can mount it on the bed. So on work table, you are keeping this the workpiece, and it's holding properly. So because whatever you are shown, maybe you don't have the holding tools, work holding devices are not shown, but always there is a work holding devices will be there, whether it's a vise or whether it's a clamp or something with some attachment. This workpiece has to be hold on the table. If not holding, what happened? There is a, because there is a friction is there always. The friction is involving between the cutting tool and the workpiece, right? So already we see in first chapter. So because of friction, there is a possibilities are there. Your workpiece can move from its position, or maybe sometimes what happens, there is a dynamic forces are involving. There is a possibilities are there. Your workpiece can fly off. To avoid that, we used to provide some kind of grip, some kind of holding force is required. So coming to the principal parts, so different parts. So this is the typical your lathe machine, your shaper machine. So this is a table. In that previous slide, you've seen only this portion. So there is a ram, and this ram is consisting of a tool post, and this is a workpiece. So actually, if you say this is the typical line diagram of shaper, and this is the actual image of the shaper, which is available in your workshop, in your machine shop. So the major component of the shaper is ram. So RAM is a basic device. So on this RAM is nothing but it is reciprocating in its position, right? So it is reciprocating its position. It's moving forward and backward. So in this direction. So in this direction it is moving. So when it is moving, so in front portion is connecting the tool post. So this is called as a tool head or nothing but tool post. So in this tool post you are fixing the tool, and this is a typical workpiece. So workpiece is mounted on a cross table. This is used to called a work table, or also called as a cross table, because it is moving laterally. Because when the tool post, this whatever the ram is there moving in this direction, so perpendicular to this workpiece has to move. This table has to move. So that's why this is called as a feed. That's why this is called as a work table, and also called as a cross. We used to give some kind of cross feed. So this is called as a feed we are giving. And if you coming to further more components, so this whatever the vertical portion is there, this used to called as a column. So this is a typical column. So the column is similar to whatever you have seen in your drilling machine. So drilling machine also we used to have a column. Similar kind of column is there. So because column is giving the structural support, as well as inside the column we used to have the driving mechanism. And this is a base. So base also you can call it as a bed. So depending upon the complexity, we can directly, sometimes we don't have the work table. If heavy work pieces, directly we can mount. But normally in this kind of shaper machines, so normally we are not using for heavy work pieces. We are using for normally for small to medium size of work pieces only we are using. So this is a cross rail. So I told you this is the typical cross rail. So in this you used to have a rails are there. So these are the rails. So these cross rails are nothing but whatever is there. This is a fixed on the column, and on this cross rail, this whatever the work table is there. So this is moving. The cross rails is mounting here, and this is the feed mechanism. Feed mechanism is given in this. So this is a feed motion. So feed motion is given in this. So workpiece, once your workpiece is, this RAM is moving forward, cutting has done. So then what happened when after going back? So workpiece has to move a little bit. Otherwise, what happened? The same position wherever the already machining has done, in the same position your workpiece, your tool is moving forward. There is no machining, right? So once your cutting stroke is done, so cutting stroke and reverse stroke, one cycle is completed. So after completion of the work stroke and then this whatever the table is there, it has to move laterally. So in this direction, it has to move. So then only your new unmachined portion is exposing to the tool. So this is called as a feed. Already we have seen. So this is cutting speed, and this is the feed. So and similarly, same thing you can see here. So here in the line diagrams, nothing is mentioned for work holding devices, but here you see the work holding device. This is nothing but a vise. So bench vise, whatever we are used in your carpentry or fitting. In fitting, whatever the vise you are used, the same kind of vise is there here. So normally vise is using for small work pieces. If it is a medium work pieces, so directly workpiece has to mount it on the table, and using some clamps, C clamps, whatever we have seen in the drilling, boring machines. So similar kind of C clamps you can use and hold this workpiece in this. So here you used to have some kind of grooves. On that grooves you can put the C clamps and other holding clamps, and you need to fix it, the workpiece. So this whatever the shaper you're seeing in this image, in this slide, are nothing but whatever the shaper is there in your workshop. So those shaper normally for medium to small to medium workpiece, only for small workpieces. So small workpieces, maybe you can keep somewhere about 100 by 100 size of the workpiece. Maybe you can keep it. If it's bigger than that size, maybe even if 150 mm also you can keep it. So bigger than that, it's very difficult to hold on the vise. In that case, what we used to do, we remove the vise. So whatever the vise we mounted on this table, we remove the vise, and directly workpiece can mount on the table, and the table you can hold it, and then you can do the machining. This is the typical your shaper. So if you take the main parts, so two line diagram. So actually you see this is a line diagram only, but this is the three-dimensional line diagram. But in the exam, if the question comes on the lathe for 5 marks or 10 marks, you better to draw this kind of diagram. So this is the two-dimensional 2D diagram. So 2D line diagram. So this kind of diagram you need to draw in your exam if a question is come related to the shaper, right? So in the same thing. So this is a RAM. So tool head, tool, workpiece, and this is vise because it's the medium work, smaller work pieces. This is typical vise, and this is the table, right? This table can be adjusted its height. It can lift its heights from its position. So if it's a bigger high depth objects, so maybe you can make it down. So up and down movement can be possible. Cross slide also there. So this is nothing but your cross slide. So it can move cross, and as well also it can raise its height, raise or lower its height. So this is a vertical column and the base. So these are the these are the 7. So basic components of any shaper machine. So base, so this is the base, and then column. So column are nothing but vertical column, and this is the RAM, and this is the typical table, and this is the cross rail. So whatever you have seen in the class in the previous slide. So this is the cross rail and saddle. So actually saddle is considering as this one. So on which your this complete your RAM is moving. So saddle is mounted in this, and this is whatever the ways are there. That's also part of the saddle. So this is saddle, tool head. So tool head on which you are mounting the tool. So this is tool head, and one more important part is there in the lathe. So that is called clamper box. So whatever the tool post is there. So normally tool post is mounted on a clamper box. So this clamper box is help the tool while returning stroke. So what happened? So whenever the workpiece is moving forward, it used to remove the material. So when it is coming back, if the workpiece, if this tool is on the same position, what happened? So in return stroke, there is a possibilities are there. So this cutting tool may spoil the surface finish of this workpiece. So to avoid that, what you used to do in return stroke, normally clamper box, that's actually there is a mechanism, clamper box mechanism. What happened because of this clamper box? So at return stroke, it is smallly tilted from its position. So now it is a vertical. So in return stroke, it is a little bit tilted. So when it is a little bit tilted, so what happened? So there is a gap will be there. So on the surface of the workpiece and the cutting tool, there will be a small gap is there. So because of the gap, there is no interference, or there is no touching is happening between the workpiece and surface. So that is the requirement is there for the clamper box. So clamper box is nothing but this, whatever you have seen. So complete tool head. So in that tool head, there is some box kind of thing is there. So this is a typical clamper box. The shaper machine. So working principle, if you take the working principle, so here you can see in this, maybe same kind of thing is there, whatever you've seen in your first slide, the same thing is there. This is a flat workpiece and this is the cutting tool. This is a typical tool. So tool is holded in a tool post, and tool post is mounted on a clamper box and on tool head, right? If you see only workpiece and tool, so cutting tool, if you say, so this is happening, typically this is happen. So job, whatever the job is there, so the workpiece is rigidly fixed on machine table. So anybody having any questions? So please pay attention. So this is a typical, the job is rigidly fixed on the machine table. So on the table, by if it is a small work pieces, we are using a vise. If it is a big work pieces, we are using separate clamps, directly using clamps. We are fixed on the table. And using a single point, this is a workpiece is rigidly holded on the table, and single point cutting tool held in the toolbox or nothing but tool post. The tool post and is mounted on a reciprocating ram. So completely whatever the tool post is there, so that we have seen in the previous slide, it's completely mounted on a ram, and ram is reciprocating at particular length. The reciprocating motion of the ram is obtained by a quick return motion, so nothing but quick return motion mechanism. So here in shaper, so there is a quick return mechanism is there. So this quick return mechanism, what it will do? So whatever I told you, so cutting stroke, nothing but forward stroke is going at normal speed, what is the required speed, and return stroke is coming faster. So that's why this mechanism is called as a quick return mechanism. So return motion mechanism or quick return motion mechanism or nothing but quick return mechanism. So different mechanisms are there. So crank and slotted lever mechanism, Whitworth quick return mechanism, and as well as the hydraulic quick return mechanisms are there. So these maybe we can discuss in later slides. So there is a quick return mechanism is there. So as the ram reciprocates, the tool cuts the material during the forward stroke. During return stroke, there is no cutting action, and this stroke is called as the ideal stroke, right? So forward stroke and return stroke. Forward stroke is the cutting stroke, and return stroke, cutting stroke are nothing but working stroke. And return stroke is ideal stroke or nothing but it's called as the ideal stroke or return stroke. The forward and return stroke constitute one operation cycle of the shaper. So once ram from its initial position moving forward and then return back to its initial point, this complete process is considering as a one cycle. So cycle of operation, if you consider, is complete movement of your ram from forward to return. So that process is called as a one cycle. Though if you take the kinematic scheme, the shaping primary motion is performed by the tool. So normally in our drilling machine also we have seen. So primary motion of the cutting is happening. The cutting motion, cutting velocity is given to tool, not to the workpiece. Whereas in the lathe, so primary motion is given to the workpiece, not to the tool. So tool is stationary, where in the lathe the tool is stationary and workpiece is moving. Where in the drilling machine, so workpiece is stationary, tool is moving. So here also workpiece is stationary, tool is moving. So workpiece is firmly, rigidly fixed on the table, and this cutting tool is moving forward and backward. So this is the typical different operations performed on the shaper. So already I told you, so different operation, whether it is a horizontal direction, horizontal cutting, this is a typical horizontal direction. So as whenever the workpiece is moving forward direction, it's a cutting. So in this, if your surface is horizontal surface, this is called considering as a horizontal cutter. If it is a vertical, if you instead of horizontal, maybe you can make it vertical also. Vertical movement also possible. So ram can be moved into the vertical direction. If whatever you have seen previously, so in previous slides, so in this mechanism, maybe your the ram is moving in the horizontal direction. So ram can also move in the vertical direction also. So if it is a change that the movement of the ram, then it can call it as a vertical shaper machine. So in vertical shaper machine, normally RAM is moving in vertical direction. When it is moving in the vertical direction, it is cutting the vertical surfaces. So vertical cutting, and also it can make it incline cutting also. So incline cutting. So for example, this kind of some 45 degrees or maybe some kind of 30 degrees are there. Whatever the slots you see, whatever the internal grooves are there. So these internal grooves, if you want to cut some angle, so definitely you that kind of shapers also can be possible, where it can move it incline direction, or you can make the using the clamper box, you can tilt the tool at that particular angle, and then it is possible to move forward and backward. So it is so in this direction also is called as incline cutting. Not only incline cutting and straight cutting, even possible to irregular cuttings also can be possible. So uneven surfaces, maybe some surfaces are there upon some kind of tapered surfaces in horizontal direction, or some kind of circular, not exactly circular, but some kind of irregular shapes are there. So those kind of irregular shapes also can be possible to cut using this shaper machine. So anybody having any question up to now? So now please you can take this as screenshot. So because this is a different kind of cuttings are showing. So please take this screenshot. Then I can move forward. So I'm giving a 1 minute. Most of the shapers are the push type shapers. Shapers are, and some special cases we used to use the draw type shapers also. So draw type shaper means opposite direction. So metal is removed when the tool is drawing towards the column. So in previous case, what happened? The RAM is moving away from the column. At that time only we are doing the machining. So in return stroke is idle stroke. But in this case, whatever the return stroke are nothing but from where your RAM is moving close to the column. At that time, in that stroke, material removal is happened. So that kind of stroke is called, that kind of shaper is called as the draw type shaper. So normally this kind of shaper is required for the heavy cutting. So if you're using, normally shapers are using to small to medium type of workpieces. The medium are nothing but heavy workpieces, whatever we are cutting. So for that kind of heavy workpieces, normally we are using this kind of draw type shaper. So normally draw type shapers vibrations are less because cutting is happening as it's coming close to the column. That's why normally vibration compare with push type shaper, draw type shapers are vibrations are less. That's why this kind of shapers we are using for heavy workpieces. So one more classification according to the driving mechanism. There is a different kind of drive mechanisms are there. So using crank type, so driving mechanism is the crank and lever mechanism. Gear type, so normally by driven by rack and pinion mechanism is called as the gear type mechanism. Similarly, hydraulic shaper. If whatever the working motion is there, the working motion is coming by the hydraulic forces or hydraulic means. So that kind of shapers is called as a hydraulic shaper, driven by oil pressure developed by a pump, which is nothing but hydraulic. And according to the table design also. So you can classify the shapers into different categories according to the table design. Standard shaper. So standard shaper is nothing but work table can be moved. So whatever you see in the basic, whatever we have seen in the previous slides. So that is the standard shaper. So your tables can move vertically as well as horizontally. Vertically, you are adjusting the height so that different sizes of the workpieces you can accommodate. And horizontally also it can move to give the feed. So this is the standard shaper. And then the universal shaper also there. So table can be moved horizontal, vertical. In addition to horizontal and vertical, it can swivel. Maybe it can incline. The table can be inclined. So maybe say at a particular angle in both the directions it can move. It can inclination can be possible. So that kind of swivel as well as tilted. So tilting as well as swiveling can be possible. Those kind of shaper is called as a universal shaper. So these things are depends upon the table design. So table it is a normal, it's a standard. So whatever you have seen, only vertical and horizontal motions can possible, then it can called as a standard shaper. In addition to these two, you can swivel the table and as well as tilt the table. Then we can call it as a universal shaper. So fine, then we'll continue. So we're discussing about shaper, right? So different types of shaper we have seen, mechanisms we have seen. So now we're coming to the specifications of the shaper. So for every machine, specifications are very important, right? So specifications are nothing but the physical parameter by which you can specify the machine. So that is called as a specification. So whenever you are buying or when you want to take anything, when you want to use anything, first you want to know the specification of any machine. So even like mobile, so maybe if you're buying a mobile, you'll see what is the speed, what is the RAM, and what is the size of display. All these things you will see, right? So that is called as a specification. So similarly, when you're buying a machine, you need to know the specification of the machine. So then only you can buy. If you know the specification, then only you can buy from the market. So what size of the workpiece you have? So what size of the smoothness you need to require? What is your applications? So based upon the applications, you're generating the specifications. Based on the specification, you are buying the machine. So different machines having the different specification. So how to specify the shaper? So these are the 4 factors. So which is specifying the shaper. First basic thing, most important thing is maximum length of the stroke, or nothing but your RAM, whichever the RAM is there, which is what is the travel of the RAM. Travel is nothing but how much distance it can move from starting to end of the stroke, how much distance it can travel. So that length of the distance travel is called is one of the basic specification of shaper. Based on that only you can decide how much length of the workpiece you can machine at a time, how much length of the workpiece you can keep on the work table. So maximum length of the stroke or RAM travel, and height of the table can rise. So how much height you can rise the table. So based upon that only you can decide how much width of the arm, how much height or how much width of the workpiece you can mount on the table. How that much you can mount. So how much height that your table can rise, that is the second specification. RAM travel, and third one is the largest size of the workpiece that can machine. So in addition to length and height, you need to have the width also, right? So how much biggest workpiece that you can machine on a lathe, on a shaper. So these are the 3 basic specifications of the shaper. So now we can see about the different mechanism. So we discussed about quick return mechanism, right? So quick return mechanism is required in shaper, because in shaper only forward stroke is cutting stroke and return stroke is idle stroke, right? So return stroke there is no action, no cutting action. So return में जब whenever the RAM is moving back, जब RAM move पीछे आते रहता तब cutting होता नहीं है, right? There is no action. So जो no action है is nothing but it's the idle. So this idle stroke we need to make it as fast as possible. So जल्दी हम cutting करते बहुत fast move करते, जब return लेके आते तो उसको जल्दी लेके आना पड़ेगा, so that we can reduce the time of our machining. तो जितना fast ले जा सकते उतना fast लेके आना है. तो वो उसके वास्ते एक separate mechanism is required. So that mechanism is called as the quick return mechanism. So almost all shaper, slaughter and planer normally machining is happening only forward direction or nothing but one direction, and return direction and other direction is always is idle. So that whatever the ideal direction is there, ideal movement of the RAM, it has to move forward very fast. So for that we need to have this kind of quick return mechanism. So basically there is the 3 different kind of quick return mechanisms are there. So one is crank and slotted lever mechanism, Whitworth quick return mechanism, and hydraulic shaper mechanism. So first 2 maybe you can see in this class, and rest hydraulic shaper mechanism maybe you can see in the next class. So crank and slotted lever mechanism as well as the Whitworth quick return mechanism. I hope you have studied this in your kinematics of machine. In kinematics of machine, you studied about 4-bar mechanism, right? So different inversions of 4-bar mechanism we have studied. In that, one of the inversion of the 4-bar mechanism is Whitworth quick return mechanism, and also crank and slotted lever mechanism. So here also 4 link. What is the 4-bar mechanism? So in 4-bar mechanism, you used to have the 4 different linkages. So in that 4 different linkages has to different kind of motion. Some having sliding motion, some having rotary motion, some links are maybe fixed also. So by fixing different kind of links, you are going to get the different inversions of 4-bar mechanism that I hope you already studied in your kinematics of machine. So here we are going to see one of the inversion quick return mechanism or nothing but same mechanism also we are using for crank and slotted lever also. So this is a typical crank and slotted lever mechanism. So in this, if you say here, if you see in this, so whatever you are seeing the image in right, so in this, so this is your shaper, right? Shaper is mounted on the top of the column you have seen, and inside the column, so this mechanism is involving. I told you. So when we were discussing about different parts of shaper, so whatever the vertical column or nothing but column is there, column is not only supporting the RAM and also it is housing the mechanism. This is a typical crank and slotted lever mechanism. So in this is nothing but one of the inversions of your 4-bar mechanism. So in this, so this whatever you're seeing, this is the crank. So what is meant by crank? So crank is nothing but one of the lever which is rotating about one of the its pivot. So if you take a link in a line, so one of the end point, about at the end point it is rotating about that particular point is called as the crank, right? So in this, whatever I have drawn this This is nothing but crank. So this crank, this is considering as a center, and this is rotating about its axis. So this crank is rotating. When this crank is rotating, in one side of the crank there is a slider mechanism. This is the second link. Slider is there. So slider is sliding in a slotted lever. That's why this used to called as a crank and slotted lever mechanism. This is crank and this is a slotted lever. When it is rotating about its axis, axis, then what happened? One end slider is connected. The slider is rotating in this slotted lever. So slider is rotating in this circle, and this whatever the slotted lever is there. So this is oscillating about this particular point. So this is fixed at this particular point K. So at this pivot point, it is oscillating. So crank is rotating and slotted lever is oscillating. So one end of the slotted lever is fixed, and other end of the slotted lever is connected to the ram. So because of this oscillation of this this slaughter, this whatever the slotted lever, so your ram is moving forward and backward. And this forward and backward also is going quick return. Forward direction is faster and return direction is very slow. So this, if we see this ram of the shape may be driven by mechanical driver or hydraulic drive. So here we are seeing the mechanical drive. So since cutting tool plays only once in a double stroke and the other stroke is idle, the shaper ram should be provided with a quick return feature. So in forward direction it has to move forward, forward direction it has to go slow because cutting is involving, and return stroke is idle, so that's why it has to come as fast as possible, means speed has to maintain as more as possible. So mechanical driven shaper make use of this slotted arm. So whatever we are seeing here is nothing but mechanical type of quick return mechanism. So Whitworth as well as slotted lever mechanism is come under so mechanical drive, and hydraulic quick return mechanism is coming in hydraulic type. So mechanical quick return. So how this is working? So simple, I'm explained to you, right? So this is when this crank is rotating. So this crank, whatever the slot, whatever the slider. So this portion, so whatever is there. So this is the slider. So slider is mounted in this slotted lever. So this slider is moving up and down. So as this is rotating, so this is moving up and down. So as this is moving up and down, so this is oscillating about this particular pivot. And other end is coming to the ram. So ram is oscillating about its position. So all this mechanism is housed inside the column. That's why this mechanism we are not able to see. We can see only the motion or nothing but oscillations of ram only we can see when switch on the machine. So these things is happening inside the column or inside the housing. So outside only we are seeing about the ram motion. So as a mechanical engineer, you're supposed to know this mechanism. So this is a typical how this quick return is happening. So I'm not bothering about mechanism. So mechanism already you are aware, you studied even in your kinematics of machine. So I'm bothering here how this quick return is possible. So in this crank and slotted lever, so as the ram moves at completely slower speed during the forward cutting stroke, so as our requirement, and during the return stroke, the mechanism is so designed to make the tool move at a faster rate to reduce the ideal return. So this mechanism is known as the quick return mechanism, and this quick return mechanism in crank and slotted lever, this is happening like this. So this is your slotted lever. So here I'm replacing that with a line diagram. I'm not drawing now here the slotted lever and ram. So here this is a line representing the slotted lever, and this is representing whatever OP. This is representing your crank, and whatever the point is, the P2 is there. The P2 is representing the slider which is there mounting on this. So as this axis is rotating, so this whatever this OP is rotating about this dotted circle, whatever is there. So then what happened? So because this point is always connected to this one, right? So it can be swiveled in this. The slider can be moved, but it is always slider in this slotted lever. So as it moves, so along with this, whatever the slotted lever is, that's also moving. And this slotted, you see in this, when this is moving in this direction, when this is moving in this direction, this is moving in this direction, as the arrow shown, when it's moving in this direction. So when this particular point, when P1 is there, so your slider is this particular point. When this is going, your slider is moving up and up, because in this whatever the slotted lever, there is a slot is there. So in this slot it is moving. For example, when it is coming here, so your slotted lever is coming here, your slot is at this, like this it will come, and this slider is moving in this slaughter. So the slider is coming at this particular point. Similarly, when this the slotted lever is moving at this particular position, your slider, because slider is moving, so slider is coming at this particular point. So in this, whatever the slot is there, so in that slot, up and down it is moving, your slider. And this, whatever you are connecting, this slotted lever, so slotted lever moving this direction. When it is coming extreme here, so again this whatever the the slider is there. So slider is going this direction. When it is going, so it is coming back. For example, after this crossing here, when it's coming here, so at this particular point, your slider is in this direction. It will be there. So this slider, this is particular direction, and this slider, whatever is there, this B. So this is connected to your RAM. So assume this is a RAM. So this RAM is connected to a tool, right? So this is a tool. So as it is moving forward and backwards, as it is moving forward, it's moving in this direction. As the return, so as from here to here, when it's coming, it is coming back. So it's moving forward in direction. So this direction as well as this direction, this is moving. So this is depending upon your this angle. So out of 360 degrees, so complete rotation is involving 360 degrees. In 260 degrees, it is moving one direction forward. So in from the one point to other point, end point, starting point to end point. Well, is it coming return? It is not going on total 216 degrees, but it is going only 144 degrees only. Means the distance, linear distance, if you say, it is covering the same distance, but angular distance, whatever whatever your this slider is covering, it is covering only 144 degrees. So means your this forward motion time is taking more, and reverse motion time is taking less. But distance, linear distance is same. So angular distance may be changing, but linear distance, if you say from here to here, so A to B, so linear distance, whatever is there, linear distance is same, but angular distance is different. So because of distance is angular difference, so your speed is changes. So length is same, but forward direction, because it's forward direction, it is traveling 216 degrees, and return direction, it is going to 144 degrees. So standard, whatever the speed it is moving in forward direction, return direction, it is to cover in only 144 degrees. It is to cover the same distance. That's why it's moving faster. That's why this is, so this is the forward stroke, whatever you're seeing in the up, and whatever you're seeing down. So from here to here, whatever it is coming back, it is considering as an ideal stroke. So return stroke is always ideal stroke. So this is the crank and started lever mechanism. So for further details, if you want to anything, you can refer the textbook. So if you want anybody want to ask the question, please ask me from this crank and started lever mechanism. Anybody have any question? So then we can go for next slide. So next other Whitworth quick return mechanism. So in Whitworth quick return also, it's one of the four bar in inversion. So only thing, so in quick return and started lever, what is there? So here you not required any started lever, right? It's completely a hinged support. There is no starteds are there, but it is a bar is required here. So here you used to have the four linkages. So this is one link. So link one. So maybe in this, as per this one, if you take, so here also slotted lever. Sorry, in this also slotted lever is required. So this is the slider. So slider moving and moving up and down, but only difference the slotted lever and this. So previously RAM is directly mounted on the slotted lever, but here so the slide is not mounted on the slotted lever, but slotted lever used to have one more link, and this is maybe you can consider as the fifth link. So this fifth link is connected to the RAM, right? So this is, so actually this is only is rotating about this. So actual mechanism is involving in this only. So in this is a inversion of 4 bar linkages. One of the bar is fixed and one of the bar is sliding, and other 2 bars are oscillating. So this is a typical Whitworth quick return mechanism. So this is your RAM. So in this, what is happening here? So link CD. So CD is, if you take it here, so this is a typical CD is nothing but link 2. So link 2 is here, CD. So CD is fixed. So link 2 in this. So CD is fixed as per your 4 bar linkages. So one link is fixed, and other link CA. So if you take CA, C and A. So this CA is rotating about its uniform angular speed. This is nothing but, this is the crank. This is the fixed link, and this is the crank, and the started link, which is nothing but 4. So this started link is represented by the P. So this is PA. So A to P. So this is the started link. So in this started link, this is moving. The similar principle, whatever you have seen in previously, same principle. So this is rotating, but at the end, so you used to connect one more link. So link 4. So link 4, if you take the slider link 4 is PA. So P to A, this is link 4. So this is one link, started lever, slider one link. So one link is fixed and one link is crank. So these are the 4 links. So in addition to these 4 links in Whitworth mechanism, we used to have one more link is there here. So which link is connected? P to R. So R is considering as a RAM. So P to R you are connected. So in this, what happened? The same link, whatever we have seen previously, as this is rotates about its axis, so this is oscillating about this particular point. So here, so previously you are pivoted at the end, but here we are pivoting at the center. So we are pivoting this whatever the is there. It is center, so it is rotating about this pivot. So it is oscillating about this pivot, and this is rotating about this axis. So in this whatever you see, so in these two circles are there. So this is for slotted. So whatever your slider is there, slider is rotating at this particular point, and whatever the point this point P is there. So this is also a slider. So this is rotating at this particular circle. So this is the typical circle, right? So when this is rotating, so this is connecting. So as this is oscillating, so this is also moving from this particular point to other points. So this is rotating from this direction, right? So as this is rotating, so this ram is moving. So this is connected to this one. So this is moving. So this connecting rod PR, so nothing but your PR connecting rod is carries the ram at the R, which is cutting tool. This R ram is consisting of cutting tool and is fixed. The motion of the tool is constrained along with the RD. So whatever the constraint is there, so this whatever is there, this is moving in a straight line. So in this whatever the straight line is there, in this straight line only, so your ram is moving. So this mechanism is considering as a Whitworth quick return mechanism. It is one of the inversions of your 4-bar linkages. So anybody having any questions in Whitworth quick return mechanism? So these two please practice. So this one, so this diagram. So because this is definitely one question will come, whether crank and slotted lever mechanism or Whitworth quick return mechanism. One expecting to come 5 marks or maybe sometimes 10 marks question also may come. So expecting definitely 5 marks question will come. In that maybe you can explain and then at least you can draw one rough sketch like this. You need to show. So that's why please practice the sketches or practice the images for this. Then coming to be hydraulic mechanism, maybe I'll discuss in the next class. I'm not going to discuss now because hydraulic mechanism normally using for heavy structures. So when you're discussing about a planar, at that time we can discuss about hydraulic mechanism. So applications, so basic applications of shapers are these are machining for horizontal surfaces, machining of vertical surfaces, any kind of flat surfaces we are using shaper. So machining of angular surfaces already we have seen. So if somebody is asking about applications, maybe 2 marks questions may come. So applications of shaper, maybe these are the answer. Machining of horizontal surfaces, machining of vertical surfaces, machining of angular surfaces, angular surface, inclined surface also you can machine. Cutting slots, grooves, keyways also can possible to machine on shaper. But normally for slots and we are using, slotting machines are using. That maybe we can see after this. So machining irregular surfaces also can be possible on shaper, and machining splines and cutting gears are nothing but splines are nothing but your teeth on the circular periphery are nothing but your gear teeth. Gear teeth are splines which is using for couplings and bearings. So that kind of things also can be possible to machine using the shaper. So then is coming to be slotting machine. Those slotting machines are very simple machine. So its mechanism is same as a shaper machine. So if you say the vertical, different kind of shaper machines we have seen. So horizontal shaper machine, the vertical shaper machine, angular shaper machines, depending upon the motion. So maybe what vertical shaper machine and slotting machines are same. So similar to that one. So vertical shaping machine as well as a slotting machine. Slotting machine can be simply considered as a vertical shaping machine. Unlike shaping and planing machine, slotting machine is generally used for internal surfaces. Normally shapers we used to use for the external surfaces, external flat surfaces. Internal surface also can be possible in shaper, but mostly for internal surfaces we are using slotting machine. So that's why this machine is called as a slotting machine, because you used to slot the machines, or maybe it can make the grooves or internal surfaces. So this is a typical image of the shaping machine. Slotting machine. So in this, normally whatever the shaper is the same thing, ram, same mechanism is there. So that's why we're not going to discuss much about slotting machine. So in-house, the same kind of components are there. The column, and you having a complete column is there, and you have a ram. So ram is previously ram is moving horizontal direction. Now ram is moving in the vertical direction. You have a tool posts are nothing but tool holder. So clamper box also available in this. And then you have a table and base. So all parts are same only, whatever we have seen. But normally using to make this kind of slots. So this is a typical workpiece. In that workpiece, if you want to make this kind of key slots or this kind of grooves if you want to make, so normally we are used to use on this slotting kind of machining. And types of the mechanism, quick return mechanism, all these things, same whatever the shapers are there, same kind of mechanism is there in the slotter also. So this is a typical slotting machine. So whatever you have seen in this two-dimensional diagram, then the same thing is there. This is actual machine. So this is the base. So this is the working table, and this is the column. So in this is the ram. So ram is moving up and down. So normally for construction wise, shaper is little stronger and little robust than slotting machine. So applications of slaughter, normally if you say the applications of the slaughter, it's using for internal grooves and keyways. So cutting off internal gears. So what are the internal gear tools are there? So gear tools, those things can be mostly make in this slaughter. So can be possible on shaper also, but mostly we're using for the slaughter. And also cutting off races. Races is nothing but internal grooves. So any kind of internal grooves are there. So those grooves are making on this slotting machine. So who is 360? So please mute from your side. So all students, please mute from your side. Otherwise, unwanted noise is coming in the class. So now we can go for this is a typical slaughter. There is no much information is there for the slaughter. So because shaper and slaughter there is no much difference. So then coming to be planing machine. So anybody want any kind of doubt in shaper and slaughter? So then we can moving the planing machine. The operation wise, shaper, slaughter, and planer is almost same. So even planing machine, whatever the machine you're seeing in this slide, the structure construction wise may be different, but operating principles are same. Both are using to cut the flat surfaces. Planing machine are used for generating. Normally, planing machine is used for the larger workpieces, medium to heavy workpieces. So I told you. Shaper is normally using to smaller to medium workpieces, and planing machines are using to medium to heavy or larger workpieces. So normally used for the larger flat surfaces. So these flat surfaces may be horizontal, maybe vertical, or maybe inclined, like shaper, whatever is there. So planing machine also perform all the function that is the shaping machine does. So whatever the operations can be performed on the shaping machine, the same kind of operations can be performed on the planing machine. But only thing planing machines are using for heavy workpieces. So if heavy cuts are required, then we use going for planing machine. If it is a small cuts, smaller workpiece, small to medium workpieces, we are using this kind of shaper machine we are using. So the planing machine is using for heavy workpieces. So planing machine, the work is mounted on the table, which moves forward and backward. So in previous case, in shaper machine, I'm not talking about slotting now. So shaper and slaughter is same. I'm talking about shaper. So in shaper machine, normally what we are doing, we are keeping the workpiece on the table, and ram is reciprocating forward and backward, which is holding the tool. Here, what happened? It is quite opposite is happening in planing machine. Job is mounted on the table, so same mounted on the table only, but this table is moving forward and backward. So here ram is not moving forward and backward. Here we are not using ram. Please remember in planer, shaper and slaughter we are using ram, but here we are not using ram. So instead of ram, we are using some kind of cross structure, whatever is there in this picture. So we are using some kind of cross rail. We're using some kind of cross structures we are using. So on this cross structure, we used to mount in the tool heads or toolboxes. So on these toolboxes, we are keeping the cutting tools. So in this, what happens? The major the things whatever is there. So this is the typical tool. Sorry, I think your slides are moving. So this is the typical tool. Work table. So previously, if you say the shaper work table is smaller, but here work table is bigger. So we are keeping our workpiece on this work table, and here we are not keeping vise here. So directly we having a slotted table is there. So on this slotted table, directly by using clamps, C clamps and other clamps, so directly you are clamping the workpiece. So normally using for heavy workpieces. So this heavy workpiece is mounted here, and you are mounting the tool on this cross rail. What are the toolboxes are mounted? So these cross rails can be whatever the cross rail is there. So this can move up and down. So it can move up and down, and as well as this whatever the toolboxes are there. So this can move left as well as the right direction. So linear motion can be possible, horizontal motion by the toolbox and vertical motion by this cross rail. So cross rail is moving up and down. So previously there is no motion in cross rail in the shaper, but here cross rail also moving up and down. So based upon the size of the workpiece, you can adjust it here. And the major difference between shaper and slaughter, shaper and planer is, so here workpiece is reciprocating and cutting tools are stationary. So as the workpiece is rotating, so this is removing the material. And also feed is also given to the table here. Maybe coming to major parts if you say. So I'm coming back in the next slide about the difference of shaper and slaughter. So different parts here also the same parts. So bed. So you having this is a typical bed, and table normally bed is there, and table. So table is there. So on the bed, you mounted the table, and here also the vertical columns are there. So two columns are there, two sides. So two columns, and between these two columns, these two columns are connected by a cross rail. So cross rail. So on this cross rail, you're mounted the tool post. So inside there is in vertical column, inside there is a mechanism. Mechanism is involving the similar kind of quick return mechanism, and normally in shape planer, because it's a heavy machine, we are using hydraulic quick return mechanism we are using. So if you say the kinematics, the mechanism, if you take it the same thing. So only thing in shaper, tool is rotating. So if you take tool is rotating and workpiece is stationary. Here workpiece is rotating, tool is stationary. That's only the difference between the shaper and planer. The planing is a machining operation in which the primary cutting motion is performed by the workpiece and feed motion is imparted by the cutting tool. The feed motion is given to the cutting tool. Cutting tool can move in this direction. So feed motion is given by the cutting tool, not by the workpiece. In some cases, feed motion is given to the cutting tool workpieces also. If you come to the major differences, the planing and shaping machine. So normally planing machine is heavy and is used for producing the large surfaces. Whether the shaping is a light, medium to small to medium sizes, are nothing but light, and only small jobs can be produced. The cutting takes place by reciprocating the workpiece in planing machine, whereas in the shaping machine, cutting takes place by reciprocating the cutting tool. So the tool which is mounted on the ram, right? And normally, because planing machine is using for heavy workpieces, that's why used to have the heavy cutting. Heavy cutting can be possible. So heavy cutting is performing on this. So heavy cutting is performing on the shaper, on the planer. Whereas the shaper, we are going for light cutting, because workpiece is smaller in size. So cutting is performing very small cuts only we are doing. Several tools can be mounted. So if you see in this shaper, whatever the shaper you see, here you can put multiple tool heads also. Tool heads can be put, even one tool head this side and one more tool head you can keep it this side. Here, whatever you've seen here, if you see here, you can have the two heads. Even you can increase the tool heads also. You can keep one more tool head in here, so that in multiple tool heads you can keep. But in shaper, multiple tool heads cannot be placed, because you at the end of the ram you can keep only one tool. The several tools can be keep it only one tool, and similarly several workpieces can be machined at a time in the shaper, because you can hold multiple tools. Under multiple tools you can do multiple jobs also. You can keep it, you can clamp it under below the tool head. So different types of workpieces you can keep it, and you can at a time you can machine the different kind of jobs can be make. Different kind of workpieces can be machined. Whereas in shaper, because we are having only one cutting tool, so it's not possible to make multiple jobs. So at a time can make only one job. Only one job can be taken at a time. And there is a indexing also. Indexing is nothing but your changing of the tools. So that way we can see in the next chapter. So we are not going to discuss much about indexing. So remember, the indexing means changing of the tool. So maybe whatever we see in our lathe, we having turrets are there, hexagonal turrets. So in each turret in hexagonal, each phase we used to keep the different types of tools are there. So each tools where you are one operation is performing, so we are changing the tool. So automatically we are changing the tool without stopping. So that kind of change of the tool is called as indexing. So indexing feed is given to the tool during idle stroke of the work table. So normally indexing, so changing of the tool is performing on during the indexing is given to the tool here. So where is in the shaper, so indexing is given to the job. So you can change the job, one job to other job, you can change it. So changing of the job indexing is given to the job. So during the idle stroke of the ram. So indexing is nothing but here, the changing the position, or nothing but moving the workpiece, or nothing but giving the feed. So indexing feed is given to the tool during the idle stroke, because tool is stationary. In this workpiece is stationary, that's why in shaper indexing is given to the workpiece. Then specification of the shaper slaughter. So already we have seen the specification of the slaughter. Shaper, the same kind of things are there. Same kind of specifications are there. So for shaping, slotting, or planing, so same kind of specifications are there. But again, I'm repeating that one. So maximum length of the stroke, the shaper or slaughter, or stroke for shaper slaughter, and table for planing machine. So if it is how much distance the ram is moving on the shaper slaughter, and how much distance of the table is moving. The length of the table travel is a basic specification for this kind of machines. And the size of the workpiece, so what kind of the size of the workpiece is mounted. Large size of the solid can be machined. So that is one. And height of the table to raise. So these three specifications already you see. Similar kind of specifications are there for slaughter and also planer. So in addition to that, so you need to see angle the tool can swivel or inclined. So even sometimes, because in clamper backs, even shaper also, by using clamper backs, you can change it. Orientation of the cutting tool can be changed. So in this shaper also you can, because your the toolbox is mounted on the cross slide, so you can change the angle, so angle of rotation. So in shaper maybe you can see the universal shaper. So there maybe you can give some kind of swelling, some kind of inclination you are giving to the table, and also power rating of the motor driving. So how much, what are the capacity of the motor is driving the machine. So that also one of the specifications. So if you're asking shaper, slaughter, planer, so these are the different 5 specification. In addition to that, maybe depending upon the types of quick return mechanism, whether it's a hydraulic, whether it's a pneumatic, that also can consider and think about specification. But basically, if you're asking about specification, first 3 specifications are most important: the length of the stroke, size of the workpiece can machine, and height of the table can raise. So in addition to that, maybe inclination at which it can swivel, or it can incline. And in addition to that, power rating also. Power rating also one of the important factor when you are operating a machine. So because depending upon power rating only, you can decide the power consumption, right? So power consumption is control the power, the cost of the product, or nothing but cost of the machining. So power rating, this is also one of the important specification. The coming to be ratchet and pawl mechanism. So maybe this mechanism is required to give the feed. So this maybe we can discuss in the next class because we don't have much time. So